Hi, I'm Melissa, your free range psychic. Today is June 7th, 2020, and I am going to do a past life reading on Barack Obama. People were thinking it was Abraham Lincoln, or I can't even remember who now, but no. According to my guides, now take everything I say with a grain of salt, but from what I got from my guides, President Barack Obama is the reincarnation of Charles Earl Grey II, who was Prime Minister of England between 1930 and 1934. And if you watch the beginning of the video, you would see that Charles Grey was a reformer, an activist, and so is Barack. Now, not every past life is going to be exactly like, the point is that, you continue to evolve in each lifetime, but it looks like there are characteristics that do follow through each lifetime, or at least maybe from one consecutive lifetime to the next, or maybe even probably things that come up again in your life, or traits that you have acquired in very old lifetimes. But in this lifetime, Barack Obama does seem to have a lot of the characteristics of Charles Grey. So when I do my readings, I ask my guides to show me the cards psychically, and then I ask them, why did you pick that card? And then I let you know why. So I use the Ciro Marchetti cards, I use them in this reading, and I am doing a simple Celtic cross with a clarifier card and an outcome card. So the card that my guides chose to signify both of these men is Temperance. So they said that this is both men coming in to bring balance, to bring in equality, to bring in the higher resonances of humanity. They're coming in for equal rights, whether it be voting. Charles Grey, as you saw at in the introduction, he abolished slavery in England in 1833, and he's most famous for passing the Reform Act of 1932, which really widened the electorate for the British populace and gave the middle class and the working class huge increases in their ability to participate in the English democracy, as it is. I know England is still a monarchy, but they also have a democratic process. President Obama brings in the Affordable Care Act that allows millions and millions of people to be able to have access to health insurance. He saves the auto industry. He supports LGBT rights and gay marriage. He ends the recession. He's the first African American president ever elected, and just his achievements are too numerous to mention. But both of these men bring in these elements of the higher consciousness and the higher potential of humanity. They're burning the torch, which is interesting. Look, see, the torch is in the cup, igniting the higher abilities of emotion, that relate to compassion, love, and the desire for all humans to have the access to the basics necessary for welfare, or well-being, healthcare, shelter, a living wage, those kinds of things. Both those men believed in that, or those aspects of things. And interestingly, Charles was inspired by the French Revolution, not the guillotine of the aristocracy, but in what inspired that movement, and also what was going on in America. And both men really rose above the opposition of and this entrenched institutionalism that was in both of their governments, to push through reforms that were really, if you think back, almost impossible to do. They did this. Above the Ace of Cups, look at this. She's holding cups. This is the Ace of Cups. This is the inspiration of compassion, of love, of service. This is why they're both in the positions they're in. They're coming in through the heart, through love, through the desire to uplift humanity. In the past, Eight of Pentacles, both of them working very hard to get these ideals into, I should say, welded into reality. Below the Ace of Pentacles, this is a passage of these bills that they were able to move forward, that really initiated huge changes. The Future card, when in a past life reading, this is really the result of their actions, if you think about it, or their manifestations. And so both Charles Grey and Obama, their service benefits the world, not just individual or even national interests. This is an effect on the whole world, and all humanity, and they're loved by the world, and they're coming in for world service. Above, this is a clarifying card, so this is an interesting card. This is saying that both Charles Grey and Barack Obama are family men, and they love their family, and in a way that this service to the world is not necessarily their nature, in the sense that although both have been activists from a very young age, I think Grey started becoming very active in politics at the age of 22, and I can't recall when Obama became active, but I'm sure probably earlier than that, as a reformist, as somebody who's active in community work. But really, they love being at home. They love being with their families. And looking into Gray's history, there were times he was really reluctant to reluctant to be involved in politics at times. He would rather have stayed at home. And he's drawn back again and again into Parliament by the Whig Party. He was a member of the Liberal Whig Party, to help them achieve their goals. But really, he loves his wife, he loves his children. And Obama's the same. Since he left the presidency, we see pictures of him with his family or involved in pleasant activities. He really is or was enjoying that me time or family time, and now he's being drawn back into service regarding what's going on in the world, because he has to, really, but by his own conscience. But there's this, I don't want to say conflict, but there is this big draw to be with family, to enjoy the fruits of marriage, and to be involved in his personal life. But he gets drawn back into the needs of the world. And the outcome card is victory. So both of these men victorious, even amidst a lot of challenge and struggle. And I wonder, I haven't asked this yet, but if some of the members of Parliament that were obstructing Charles Grey from realizing his vision are the same, or some of the same people that we have in the, Senate. Maybe McConnell. I haven't asked that, but it may be that instead of thinking that he was part of the obstruction of let's say the American Revolution, it very well may have been that he was somebody who was very much an enemy of the Whig Party and an enemy of Grey. And we know that Obama struggled with McConnell, and really the a GOP Senate brought him to a standstill, but he still achieved the Affordable Care Act, and he was able to save our auto industry and bring us out of the recession regardless of opposition. And so here he is in victory, and we love him. We love Barack Obama. He's beloved not just by the American people, but by the world. So if you're interested in looking at Charles Grey, he does have some other aspects about him that are written about, and there have been movies made about that. But I didn't really want to bring that up because I don't think it correlates with his life and Obama's life. I think Obama probably, as an incarnation of Grey, moved through that and learned from it and moved on. I don't think there's been a replication of that particular aspect of his life. So I guess I shouldn't keep you guessing. What I'm talking about is and this was before his marriage to Mary Ponsonby, but he had how do you say that? He had a child by a woman outside of marriage, and the woman's name was Georgiana, and there's a movie called The Duchess about that particular affair. And it's interesting that he didn't abandon the child. He wanted to marry Georgiana, but she was in a complicated situation, which is explained in that movie. But he made sure that that child was brought to his parents, raised as his sister. In those days, those kinds of things happened. But he would often bring Georgiana to visit her. He didn't cut Georgiana out of her life, and he was very compassionate about that situation. And he kept his child in his life. Just it couldn't be known that she was his daughter. So that's an interesting side story of Charles Grey. He's a very romantic and handsome character in that movie, The Duchess, by the way. But yeah, that is my reading about Barack Obama. What a surprise. I didn't really know anything about Charles Grey, or that he was Prime Minister of England. And there you go. But, looking at their likenesses and looking at their history, there's a lot of parallel there. So what do you think? Do you think that Barack Obama is the reincarnation of Lord Charles Grey II? There is a card for us. There's two, actually, that my guides wanted to share with us, an oracle card. The first is from the Ascended Masters deck. I think this is always good advice. Clear and shield your energy. Almoria. We should be doing that on a daily basis. It's really, really important. It's spiritual hygiene and self-care. As a sensitive person, you've absorbed some harsh and toxic energy from other people. This card asks you to stop and call on Almoria and Archangel Michael to clear yourself. They can also clear and elevate the energies in other people, your home, or your office. After clearing yourself, ask them to shield you from further intrusions. This process, called shielding, needs to be conducted once or twice a day. You can wear a crystal pendant to act as a buffer in harsh energy situations, but I think there are a lot of other mineral stones you can also wear for that. Additional meanings for this card: ask Archangel Michael to cut cords of fearful attachment between you and other people or possessions. Stay clear of harsh or toxic substances, environments, and relationships. Honor your sensitivity. This next card that I have to share with you is from the Sacred World Oracle deck by Kris Waldherr. It's a beautiful deck. This card is Dragonfly. And this is the back of these cards, as above, so below. So pretty. I've been seeing a lot of dragonflies around. Love dragonflies. The dragonfly card indicates unexpected guidance, surprising grace, transcendence. So I hope everybody is okay through this continuing traumatic craziness that we seem to be going through. It's just cycling and cycling, but we kind of knew that was going to happen, bringing us to these pitches. That's the way of Trump and his autocracy. So my love and prayers go out to everybody, and like the dragonfly, we'll move through these times, and we're going to transcend, and we're going to bring in the higher energies. This is what we're here to do. This is what we're here for. I always remind people at this point, I do readings, past life, anything in the present. I'm a medium. I can help you try to contact those who've passed, and if they haven't, I can try to help with my guides, assist them to make their transition. And I love to introduce people to their guardian angels. I do have a musical interlude coming up, and my information is down below, as well as at the very end of the musical interlude. Take care, everybody. Love you.